Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Eat, Drink, and Be Merry show, where we love to talk about food, drink, recipes, and techniques, and where to shop, taste, and play. Let's go. Welcome, everybody. It is time to eat, drink, and be merry with Chef Ivan Flowers. And today we are going to celebrate October being National Mushroom Month. That's right, everyone. It's a magical month and we're happy about it. And so we're going to talk about mushrooms. We're going to talk about roasting mushrooms. And, Chef Ivan's got some wonderful recipes on our site. He's got like roasted, Zinfandel mushrooms, provolone mushroom burgers. And his new one is how to roast mushrooms, the white button mushrooms. So that recipe is also on our site, and all those links are in the episode notes, or just go to blendradioandtv.com, type in Ivan mushrooms. I don't know. How do you feel about being searched that way? Chef Ivan, welcome back. How are you?
Good. It's good to be with you.
Yeah. Searching for mushrooms, right? So you got to know what mushrooms you're eating. That's the thing,
yes.
Right? Is actually starting off with the different types, because aren't they very healthy for us?
They're very healthy. They're full of nutrients and vitamins and super low calorie and sustainable and wonderful. Their mushrooms are magical, but don't eat the magical ones. Eat the regular ones.
No, you do other things with the magical ones, but yeah.
Yes,
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a whole other show. That's a show. You never tell. You never spill the spell, right? You don't do that. Well, but I think mushrooms in the fall are like, it's one of everyone gets into butternut squash and squashes and all of that, right? Which I love as well. But I think mushrooms should be added to the level of importance for fall flavors. Truly.
And yes.
Mm-hmm. Nice and earthy.
They're magic. They're mushrooms are incredible. They're an incredible fungi. They're not a fruit. They're not a vegetable. They're fungi. And a lot of people have problems with mushrooms because they've had them not cooked correctly, and it's a mouthfeel and different things. And you have to know how to cook mushrooms and they're different. There's, like the white button, the portobello, the cremini, the shiitake. They're a meaty mushroom. They can take the heat. When you go into chanterelles, morels, different things, if you were sauteing them out, you would do a little less heat. Lobster mushrooms, you would actually brine a little bit because it's a very, very tough mushroom. But the white button mushroom, a lot of people think, they're very plain. And for years, a meaty mushroom, you would roast them, saute them very high heat in a saute pan. And I did that for years and years. And I would finish with like a touch of demi-glace and butter and fresh herbs and a little sherry vinegar and just finish them that way. I was turned on to mushrooms are umami when they're done correctly. They're savory. And my wife turned me on to a thing, and I couldn't believe it. And the first time I ate it, I was amazed. When you buy fresh mushrooms, they start to turn and get a little slimy in 3 to 4 days. When you roast the mushroom in the oven, you can actually keep them for a week to 10 days, and they stay fine. And each day, they increase in flavor. They get more and more flavorful. You have them in the fridge. You can stuff them. You could slice them up and put them on pizza, bruschetta, sandwiches, put them into salads. But what I found was the way she did it, and super, super healthy, take the white button mushrooms, she'd spray the bottom of a pan, and she'd spray it with, vegetable spray. You don't salt them. You salt them when they're done. If you salt them before, all the water comes out. And what she did is she put them in a 400-degree oven, and every 15 minutes, she would spray them again so they didn't turn into elephant skin. They stayed smooth. And then after about 45 minutes to an hour, she'd take them out, spray them again. You put them cap up. So the mushroom liquid, stem up, cap down. The natural juice.
So they're showing their legs, everybody. They're showing their
legs. And that juice stays in the mushroom. And when they're nice and they kind of get caramelized, you take them out, you let them sit a little bit, and then that's when you salt and pepper them. And they are umami times 100. You bite into them, and it's like mushrooms like you can't believe. If you want them cooked a little more, you just leave them in a little more. If you have small mushrooms and you want to pull them out because some are big, some are small, hopefully you get a container where they're all the same size. They're fantastic. They're unbelievable. The texture's perfect. They're tender. They're juicy. You salt them at the end. I tell you, we always have them in the refrigerator, ready to go.
I am like you guys, Nancy and I, live on mushrooms. I mean, it's like a thing. It's like a staple. It's like, garlic, mushrooms, and onions are everything in our world because you put them in everything. But, it's interesting because you got this, specialty delivery of produce, spaghetti squash and acorn squash, butternut squash. I finally made one from the first time and it came out very good. I roasted it, pretty much did exactly what you're saying. I get into this thing now of making tin foil pockets for things because it's easier to clean up. I just think it is. I don't know if it's better for it, but it's, I don't know, just kind of works to always put foil down for me. But mushrooms, you taught me ways of cooking, and I've got these little potatoes. I got the purple ones. I got they're jewel-like, all these colors, red ones. Melissa's produce are what they are, and red ones and yellow ones. And each one has its own texture and its own flavor. And so you can mix them together and all that. But I kind of like eating them separately because of the texture being different. The purple ones are more like they're just completely different. They can become, I don't know, I don't want to say pulpy, but they're just different, completely different. I think they're more from Peru. I did Peruvian, fry them up. I did fry them up with eggs, and the eggs turned green. So you could play, green eggs and ham with it if you want. But I went to do mushrooms, and sometimes I don't like to just keep frying potatoes, so I'll put them in a saute pan and put a lid on them so that they use the moisture, and so we're not just using tons of oil to cook food, right?
No.
So that it's kind of softening and then saute it at the end, And so, but I put the mushrooms in too early. Dude, don't do that, people. Don't put the mushrooms in and they just become, I don't know, everything got sweaty and they kind of became these limp things. And rubbery, like you don't want them watery, right? That's the thing. I think they got soaked with too much water in there.
What happens too also if there's too much oil, they're a sponge. They take it in and then they take it out and you end up with a very oily mushroom. Then the water starts to come out. So if you're not roasting them in a 400 degree oven, you're doing them very, very hot in a saute pan with a very small amount of oil. I like to put in very small amount of oil and spray them. And then you let them caramelize and that excess water comes out, evaporates in the pan. And then you finish at the end what they call a Monte Aubert, just a touch of butter. And that kind of just coats the mushroom. And then sprinkle some herbs and do a little shot of sherry vinegar and it kind of balances it out. But it gives you a good mouthfeel.
Now, if you were going to do pickled mushrooms, because I've decided that's also a good thing, pickled mushrooms and olives on a salad with some nice feta cheese or goat cheese, that's a delicious, just deliciousness. But how do I not buy them in a jar in the store? Because they're loaded, right? So some of them are like they're oily, there's vinegary. So like, what would be the way to do like, do they cook them beforehand or are they just, what are they doing?
The way we buy them in a can and they're sliced and we make sure we get the super low salt ones and there's no salt added. And basically it's just a small amount of water, which you strain out. They're cooked, pre-sliced. You put them in a pan with a very small amount of oil, very small, high heat, and you caramelize them out. And they they get like a little crispy, a little chewy, still a little juicy, but again, super high heat. The ones that are pre-marinated, they're heavily salted. There's a lot of preservatives. And when you eat them, it's not very good. You're not getting a mushroom taste. You're not getting a good mouthfeel. So get the no salt added, canned, sliced, and you're good to go.
I like this. Now let's go back to buying mushrooms, because there's different ones you can get, right? And the last time I did those dry ones, and you told me not to, you said like crush them up. You were very right. Like you can use them as a, for like, almost like a topping, even instead of panko or something, right? For your food, and that is good. Otherwise they become chewy. So I learned your lesson. I also learned from you, if you're going to make your own pizza, to saute your mushrooms before you put them on the pizza. And let me tell you, everybody, I do it with the garlic. And even if you want to put a little oregano or basil with it, that helps too. And then you put it on the pizza. That is a whole other world. Because otherwise it becomes this dry piece of leather and you think, oh, I like mushrooms. And, and people put raw mushrooms in salads. I want the other ones, the pickled ones, or that's what we're talking about. Yeah. But now you go to the store, whether you get let's talk about what happens. Because a lot of people go, oh, I don't know, because of the gills, especially portobellos. What do we do? Do we take the gills out? Do
Always
we wash
take the
them
gills
all?
out. Yeah.
And they've got dirt. They got dirt and poo on them. So let's talk about cleaning the
You got to
shrooms.
wipe them. Yeah, you got to wipe them with a wet towel. Never submerge mushrooms in water. You just wipe them with a damn towel.
Okay, so wipe them. So what about the gills? Like I remember, I think last time.
Always take the gills out.
That's what you do.
Otherwise, they're dirty. Yeah.
Am I remembering right? Yeah, that's what you told me, to scrape the spoon. And when you do that, like you can marinate your mushrooms a little bit, right? If you do it for a little bit, and then like in like a vinaigrette, but not for long, right? And then
you want to cook them first. You want to cook them, then marinate them. Don't marinate them raw. You want to cook them and marinate them. It's like when I see people on TV, chefs or cooking shows, and they do stuffed mushrooms, okay, crab meat and garlic and herbs, and they put it in the mushroom, and then they cook the mushroom without having pre-cooked. You have to cook your mushroom first, then fill it, then bake it. Because then the mushrooms, if you don't do that, it comes out like elephant skin. It's chewy. It has no flavor. You must cook a mushroom first before you stuff it.
Why? We're wiping and stuffing. This sounds like fun.
Yeah, right.
Hey, do you use mushrooms in like stuffing for turkey and stuff for like Thanksgiving?
I do.
Okay, cool.
I do. The best mushroom, best mushroom is called the king trumpet. They are the most phenomenal mushroom. Years ago, when I was in Arizona, we used to take trumpet mushrooms, and we used to take a paring knife and make them look like calamari. And we would take the mushroom, make them look like calamari, put them in a little cornstarch with flour, and we would deep fry them. And they came out, it was faux calamari. And then we'd have the dipping sauces on the side, and people went insane. And we did it with a king trumpet mushroom, and it was to die for.
Wow, sounds good. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so that's a whole new thing to check out. I like this. So trumpet mushrooms. Now, can you do like the recipe that you have with the button mushrooms, which is pretty much what everyone has, right? I like to get the little baby bellas, instead of the brown ones, but we eat all of them. It's, the white mushrooms are probably the most budget friendly if you have a big family and stuff like that. And you've got to get kids involved in the mushrooms, because kids get weird about mushrooms unless you make it fun. Like I mean, have you found that are the high school students that you teach in Temecula, are they fine with mushrooms? Because I remember as a kid, all of us were like, ew, what's that? That's adult food. Like, we were like that with coffee until we grew up and learned the beauty of coffee.
I'm actually teaching all culinary ones this year, which are younger kids. They're 14 and 15.
Okay.
And I have to tell you, I'm so happy because this new generation that's coming up, they try everything. They try everything. They are so curious about everything. It is such a pleasure because the older kids were afraid of a confit tomato. They were afraid of a mushroom. You know, they would never taste a piece of escargot. You know, completely different. This new generation is open to all of it.
That's cool. Well, I think we're also in like this generational change we have, right? Like the younger generation, I mean, they're not partying like we did when we were in high school, right? Like I know that I know you did a little bit, right? They're not doing what we did. You know, they're more health conscious, I think, than what we were as kids.
The 17 and the 18-year-olds, I've seen videos party like there's no tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, I have
they party hard.
Oh man. So in other words, they got me then, huh? Okay. So they do,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I think, but in the millennials, like I see people just being healthier in general, the younger generation being healthier.
Yes.
The 20s and, you know, the early 20s on up then. And even like musicians, we don't have, you know, well, no, there's some craziness. I mean, look who just got arrested. So there's craziness out there. But I do see this changeover, which I think is good because I'm hoping through this changeover that the way we cultivate our food changes as well, and that there's more interest in heirloom vegetables and saving seeds and organics and even growing some in your backyard and that kind of thing, which would be better for our planet when you think if we did that. It'd be healthier too.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm hoping that
we have a full agriculture program now that they've put in place. Yeah, where we're growing all our own stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, and it's also not bad in regards to growing your own mushrooms. I've seen those mushroom kits. Haven't you ever wanted to do a mushroom kit? Like where you grow your own mushrooms?
You can grow them in the dark. They don't even require sunlight. They make their own wind. Yeah, they're phenomenal. Yeah,
we like anything that can make its own wind.
Makes its own wind. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
But as far as partying, you know, I taught a lot of seniors last year, and I had a whole class on this because they would actually tell me we drink till we black out. That was like the new thing. And I'm like, you can't do that. And I said, you just can't do that. And you go out and you start to party and you find yourself by yourself because your friends took off and you're in a blackout. You're not going to remember what happened. You don't know how to get home. But I was very anti-drinking till you black out. But that's what a lot of them were doing. My seniors were just out of control.
Yeah, we see, don't do that, man. It's not good for you. It's not.
No.
It's not good to do. I know we all want to experiment. Can experiment and go, okay, I've done that. Now move on. But I will tell you, Dr. Jackie Ubani, our cardiologist who comes on the show, she's on every second Wednesday. And she drills into us the fact of, especially women cannot drink that much, which we say, come on, Dr. Jackie. She goes, no, if you're going to be naughty once in a while, then you need to cut back for a while, But drugs, that's what scares me about everything is drugs.
Yeah.
And, you try once, she says, you could do cocaine once or something like street drugs, she said, and you'll see people suddenly have heart attacks and be healthy, right? As, in their midlife and going on from there, or 30s, 40s, 50s. But if they were bad as kids or youth or whatever age, even if you tried it once, it can increase your odds of having a heart attack later by like 80% or something crazy. So I'm never doing those drugs, man. I don't want to go.
Well, they're scared of drugs, and when it comes to red wine, there are a lot of cardiologists like if you're not doing it excessively. Red wine is good for your heart, but the problem with drugs now is there's fentanyl, and they put it in a lot of things, and these kids don't know it. And 1 milligram of fentanyl is deadly. 1 to 2 milligrams will kill you.
Do you do a lot?
They don't know what they're taking.
Of like explaining to them, like.
I do.
Do this?
I do. As a culinary teacher, I talk about it a lot. A lot.
Good.
And yeah.
No, that's good. That's good because it's scary, man. It's sad as
It
well,
is.
what's happening. But that's what I think is cool that you have these kinds of programs, that are able to kind of get them to experiment and understand these qualities of life. Like
Hmm.
cooking your own food is a quality of life. It brings
Hmm.
quality of life if you're eating healthier things, and it gives you pride, sense of accomplishment.
Hmm.
It's sometimes it may not be in good taste if it's me doing it, but then you learn from that and you go, like I'm going to cook a spaghetti squash today. I'm doing it because last
Hmm.
time I did it, I put it in the microwave because I read it somewhere. Someone told me or read it somewhere, put it in the microwave. And I think we've talked about this on the show, and I exploded the
Hmm.
thing in the microwave. Now I can't
Did
be
you
doing
cut it
that.
in half?
No, and I didn't
Before
prick
you?
holes in it.
Oh no, you got to cut the spaghetti squash in half, otherwise it will explode.
Well, we thought it was funny and it was our microwave, so it's fun. But, as we travel
Yeah.
the country, and that's it, I'm not going to be doing any explosions for all those
Yes.
listening. Trust me, I promise I won't do it. But I
Hmm.
now know, cut it in half, take the seeds out and put it upside
Hmm.
down in a baking dish, right? And there you
Hmm.
go,
Hmm. Yeah, with a little
you know?
liquid, touch of liquid.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
So,
and it'll come out beautifully.
and you can put mushrooms in there, like with some, I was
Yeah.
going to cook up some mushrooms, some tomatoes. I've got some leftover tomato and slice that up.
Hmm.
And I said onion, garlic, and
Mm.
kind of make that into like a little saute kind of sauce.
Hmm.
I think I've got
Absolutely.
some
Yeah.
stewed tomatoes too. Put that in there and then put that on
Hmm.
top. Not Prego,
Mm.
everybody. Don't do that. I don't think that's good. I don't know. Maybe it is. I shouldn't say that.
You,
But
you know what else is also fun with spaghetti squash after it's done and you take the fork and you take it all out like it looks like a plate of spaghetti? A touch of
yeah.
mayonnaise and Parmesan.
What?
It, yeah,
Mayonnaise.
touch of mayonnaise and yeah, a little mayonnaise, a little Parmesan. Mix it into the spaghetti squash, a little salt and pepper and fresh herbs to die for.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Mayonnaise. Huh. That's interesting. Do you ever do that on actual noodles?
Yes, yes,
Really?
yes. It's almost like an Alfredo without the cream.
Wow. Okay.
It's delicious. I love mayonnaise.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that. I mean, I have mayonnaise with French fries at times.
Mayonnaise
Because,
is wonderful. You can also bake with it. It makes incredible cakes. And you won't
wow.
taste it. It's not mayonnaise tasting. It makes the cake so moist. It's unbelievable.
You said moist.
I know. You're allowed with cake.
You're allowed to. I know. I know. I just had to bring that up. But
Yes,
yeah,
I
so
know.
mushrooms. Okay. So get the gills out. Now, the criminies and all that, because they have little gills and the little oyster ones. Do you take those gills out too?
No, you're okay. I mean,
Those are
when
little.
I was in super high end restaurants, it was insane. We would bring in shiitake mushrooms, and I'd have to take a paring knife and take the skin off the top of each mushroom. But this was also a chef that made me take out, celery, how you peel
Uh-huh.
the bottom and the little strands come out, the little filaments. We used
Mm-hmm.
to take the filaments out of every piece of celery, you know?
Oh
Kind of
my gosh.
insane. Kind of
That's a
insane,
little,
but what are
yeah,
you
no,
going to
no,
do?
no, 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 no. That's a little crazy, I think,
Yeah.
personally. But that's just me, you know.
Yeah.
So, oh, thank you so much as always, Chef Ivan.
You're
Always good
welcome.
stuff for everyone. Great recipes. I'm going to link all of Chef Ivan's recipes into the episode notes so you can check them out. But before you go, if you're going to stuff mushrooms, right? So you're going
Hmm.
to clean them off, wipe, no,
Hmm.
no, no water, right? And
Hmm.
so you would stuff them and you don't do anything to them before they need to be raw and then you bake them, right? And you don't marinate them beforehand. You just
No,
stuff
you
them with
cook
whatever you're
them.
stuffing them.
Either saute them out or roast them in the oven. Pull out the stem. Take that stem after you've
Hmm.
cooked it, chop it up really fine. Add it with the garlic, the spinach, breadcrumbs, a touch of butter, crab meat, whatever you're stuffing it with. Put that in the cooked mushroom. Then go in a 400-degree oven.
I want that now. And a glass of wine. Stuffed
Mm-hmm.
mushrooms with Parmesan
Mm-hmm.
on the top and some breadcrumbs, you know?
Oh,
And then actually making it, I know I'm going overboard again, but like if you saute mushrooms And then, like, you buy, sometimes you're really needing to do something quick and you have like, those cans of soup that we shouldn't be eating. But I have found that if you saute mushrooms and you can make your own like mushroom sauce with mushrooms by
Sure.
sauteing with the onion and garlic. And then you can even put some potatoes and then you add those to the soup. So it has something
Sure.
to it, but
Yeah.
those soups aren't good. They're not good for us, are they? Because they're
Well,
full of
guess
sodium.
what? Campbell's soup has come up with cream of mushroom, cream of chicken with 5 milligrams of sodium now versus the hundreds it used to have. So they came out with that about a year ago, and they are fabulous. I'll take that cream of mushroom soup and take the roasted mushrooms and then put that into the soup, put it in the microwave, quick snack, a little grated Parmesan on top, you're good to go.
I'm in.
And then you put the salt in that you want, but it's not 400 or 500 milligrams.
I'm gonna have to go get that because that's nice and quick, man. And you have
Yes.
nice toasted bread, provolone cheese, Parmesan cheese.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wine, Pinot Noir. Just thinking.
Yeah, that's all you need.
No,
That's all you need.
is.
Oh, provolone. It's funny you say provolone. I currently have an Italian applewood smoked provolone that you cut thin. You think you died and went to heaven when you eat this cheese.
We need to do this cheese show. I'm serious.
Yes, we need to do cheese.
Got to cheese. All right, we will do that, and we'll find out who cut the cheese in the next episode.
Yes,
well, next month is
go.
We're getting into Thanksgiving land, and then I think December is a good time to talk about cheese because people make their own cheese balls. So there you go. So that's we could do a whole NPR episode from SNL with that, can't we? It'd be fun. Well, Chef Ivan, again, thank you so much, everyone. The recipe links are in the episode notes, and we'll talk with Chef Ivan again soon, and we will get to that cheese show. I think we're going to have to do a whole cheese festival. I think we're just going to have to do a massive, massive show on cheese.
Yes.
Thank you. Take care and happy fall.
Okay. Oh, you too. Be well.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Eat, Drink, and Be Merry show. Keep up with our podcasts at bigblendradio.com and our magazines at bigblendmagazines.com.